Okay, it seems we're live. Okay, so good evening. Welcome to another edition of Pinoyathletics Track Book Tuesday. Momentarily sharing the slides. Okay, so we'll start off with some news from around the globe. So this weekend, one Filipino heritage athlete competed that I was informed of. So Sarah Moren, the Philippine junior record holder in the javelin. So she is no longer a junior now, but she holds the junior record in the javelin throw. It's 48 meters plus. She opened her season with a throw of 46 meters 60. Moren last competed when she represented the Philippines at the World University Games in Napoli, Italy, back in, I think it was August or July of 2019. She didn't throw very well at the World University Games. She only threw 35.41. So, after nearly 2 years of no competition due to COVID and due to shoulder injury, she's back, and she came out and threw 46.60 meters at a meet at Tucson, Arizona, placing third. Zion Nelson competed, was down on the start list for the USC Invite Trojan meet, but due to some cramps, she wasn't really able to start. So she should be back in action by next week. Also in action next week should be Christina Knott, running the 100, and probably Eric Cray, who was scheduled to start its outdoor season on the 27th of March. I'll have more details on that later. I'm not exactly sure of the exact meets. I've got them written down somewhere, but that was really just extra stuff that I sort of saved just in case I ran out of things to mention. So a special shout out to Leo Alel for tuning in tonight and watching our broadcast. So yeah, it's just been really busy finalizing and tying up this virtual SprinTopia meet that we've been holding from the 5th of March, which went up until the 21st of March, but it's really gone on past the 21st of March because we had 143 entries. So it's more about just getting all the results in, evaluating the videos, getting the times off the videos, and what's not. So the SprinTopia meet was originally scheduled from the virtual meet was originally scheduled from the 13th to the 14th, but it ended up being extended from the 5th to the 21st when people started submitting videos in early. It just got away in time though, because just as we'd finished this virtual meet, or elements of the virtual meet, then the COVID quarantines went up in Laguna and Cavite and in Manila, which is now, as I've read in the newspapers, has formed a bubble in Manila, Cavite and Laguna. I read in the bubble that it said that as part of the restrictions on the bubble that anybody under 18 years of age is not supposed to be leaving the house, which obviously leaves us in limbo for our next virtual meet, as we have to abide by these guidelines. So we're waiting for about a month, and then we'll evaluate the situation at the time. We do hope that the athletes and coaches continue with their training, of course, under the constraints of the virtual, of the COVID restrictions that have been put in place by the government. So we're hoping that, that the athletes don't lose motivation and they will continue to train through these difficult times with, of course, within the guidelines of what's allowable. So we honestly have no clear date at this point regarding when our next virtual meet will be held, but in about a month we will evaluate the situation and look at, putting up some more virtual meets, of course, under the guidelines that are in place. Okay, so special shout out to the following, like Jana, Joanne Gismondo, and York Tamayo. Moving on to the next screen. So I'll be going through the results of the SprinTopia virtual meet. Obviously, there were some videos that just came in that were done on Sunday that were a little bit late coming, so I've had to amend and update some of the results, but there haven't been any major changes in the results I issued the other day. So the results for the men's 100 meters. So firstly, the full results are available at Pinoyathletics/SprintTopia. There is a link to the Google Drive, which has a Excel spreadsheet of all these fabulous results that came through over the last couple of weeks. So the results for the 100-meter masters, first of all, Coach York Tamayo of Escola Athletics, he took the first place as the only contender in the masters in 12:27, just 0.13 off his personal best. And also in the process managed to beat all his athletes in the 100 and all but one of his athletes in the 200. So yeah, in the men's open, the Philippine junior record holder in the 400 meters, Alarin Labita of Leyte, took the fastest time with 11:22. So it was very close in the men's 100 meters with just 0.02 between the first and 0.02 between the second and the third. I'll just correct that third time because unfortunately that is not accurate. Now it is, and now it is accurate. There's little typos here and there to correct at various points. So now it's correct. So yeah, so Labita took the slight win over SEA Games bronze medalist in the decathlon, January Ubis, who was second, 11:24, and Ubis's teammate from Cagayan de Oro, Clint Neri, was third in 11:26. Now in the under 20 division, Jay Araneta, who was actually in the same race as Ubis, and they dead heated, and as you can see in this photo, both their heads are clearly going over the line, with half of Clint Neri's head going over the line. So therefore, the video software that we had available and the quality of the camera that we had available, we could only give a dead heat to Ubis, who's the second from the bottom, and the young John Araneta, who's just slightly, whose head is just behind Ubis's head there. Now, so John Araneta from Malibali took the top honours in the under 20 division in 11:24. From his teammate Ozaraga, who took second at 11:37, and doing a solo run up there in Las La Castanelia Negros was E. Granjeda in 11:41. In the under-18 division, the clear winner by nearly 0.8 seconds was M. Daroy of Aklan, 11:59, ahead of the two boys from Escala Athletics, Christian Burgos and Arkil de Guzman in 12:38 and 12:45. Shout out to Antonio Saron. Then in the men's 200 meters, York Tamayo again took the win in 24:70, just 0.27 outside his personal best. Alerin Labita took the win in the men's 200 meters in 22:63, just 0.11 outside his personal best. Whereas his teammate Van Alexander Obedjus, the Palarong Pambansa 2019 champion in the 110 hurdles, took the second place in a new personal best of 22.80 for the 200 meters. And Shaolin Abarot of Cagayan de Oro, in another personal best, took the third place in the men's division in 23:02. In the under 20 division, Ozaraga this time got the edge over his teammate John Araneta in 22:96, with Christian Otti of Aklan in third. In the 200 meters under 18, Daroy made it a double. Like he had won the under 1800, he added the under 18 200 in 24:13. Ronald Mitra of the Santa Rosa Lions was second, and Arkil de Guzman of Escala Athletics was third. Moving along to the men's 400. So pictured in the men's 400 is the very impressive junior Lionel Lalo from the Kintafa. So the results of the men's 400 open, Corrado of Iloilo won in 51:90 from Elbrin 52 seconds. So Corrado, the 2019 National Junior 800 meter champion, Elbrin Neri, the UAAP 800 and 1500 meter record holder, in second and 52 flat, and Shao Abarot of Cagayan de Oro, third and 52.50. Then in the under 20 men's division, John Araneta, who was the winner of the 100 meters for under 20s, took the win easily by 5 seconds from Anthony Esperanza of the Kintafa in 58:80, and J. Feb Carlos of Zamboanga del Norte in 58:88. In the men's under 18 100 meters, Lionel Lalo, who's better known as a middle distance runner of 8 and 1/5, improved his personal best by more than 2 seconds to win in 52:93. M. Espino of Aklan was second in 56:43, and J. Ginitaran of Malibali Bukidnon was third in 56:79. A shout out again to all our guests tonight: Jaime Kabalan, Elaine Ibabo, Christina Rabusura, Laika Jana, Antonio Saron, and Jessica Cabrera. In the women's 100 meters, pictured in the photo is the women's A race of Cagayan de Oro, which had 8 starters lined up 2 weeks ago. So the quickest time actually came from the under 20 division from Leanne Pama, the 2019 Palarong Pambansa 1 and 200 meter silver medalist, and the joint winner of the 60 meters Pinoyathletics Dash for Cash back in December. So Pama registered a time of 12:36. Second was Davina Mahusi, who has already represented the Philippines finishing 4th at the ASEAN School Games in 2018 in the 400 meters. She also is the Palarong Pambansa bronze medalist in the 2 and the 400 meters from 2019. She finished second in 12:62 for the Kintapa, and third place was Rajul Kugden in a time of 12:93. Also in the women's open division, Laika Jana of San Pablo had the quickest time of 13:47 from Togiyaman of Iloilo in 14:11 and Jay Karesma in 14:48. In the women's under-18 division, Palarong Pambansa finalist in 2019, Erika Ruto of Iskala Athletics had the quickest time of 12:87, followed by Kimi Jalo in 13:48 and C. Gabuyan of Asamis in 13:98. Moving on to the next screen. So pictured in the photo is the winner of the under-18s and the overall fastest time in the Pinoyathletics SprinTopia event, Erika Ruto of Iskala Athletics. So in the open division, Laika Jana, again, as in the 100 meters, had the quickest time in the open women's division of 27:60. Togiyaman of Iloilo, again, second, 29:20, and Castaneda of Iloilo in 35:10. In the under 20 division, Davina Mahusi had the quickest time of 27:20 from Agamanos of Iskala Athletics in 27:35, and Cornelia of Iloilo in 27:70. In the under 18 division, Ruto with 26:45, Villaneva of Muntinlupa Emeralds in 28:90, and Kimi Jalo of CDO in 29:08. And now moving on to the women's 400 meters. Pictured here is the quickest time in the competition. The winner of the under 20 division, Davina Mahusi, in time of 59:27. So we'll get back to Mahusi in a moment, but I'll read out the rest of the results. So in the 400 meters open, Annalyn Monoi in 108.50. Maria Laika Samiento in 109.80, and Laika Jana in 111.80. In the under 20s, Mahusi in 59.27, Cornelia in 111.34, and Malaga in 112.62, also from Iloilo. In the under 20 women, in the under 18 women's rather, clean sweep for the Kintapa with Nemi in 105.03, Epa in 111.60, and Villar in 114.97. Now, getting back to the performances of Mahusi. So, Mahusi has been a great support for these virtual events. She's run in the pretty much all the virtual events we've had so far. She's an upcoming 400-meter runner in the Philippines at 16 going 17 years of age. Has already represented the Philippines in the ASEAN School Games. She won the 300 and stepped up and won the 1,000 meters at the Pinoyathletics Fantasia meet. So Mahusi has run a time of 59.27. So this time in Southeast Asia is only behind the 57.99 of the runner from Singapore, and Valoboy, the SEA Games bronze medalist from 2015 from Malaysia, who's run 59.19 over in college in the US. Moving on to the relay results. So the men's results in the 4x1, Mali Belly 46.27, CDO 46.46, and Iloilo A with 48.63. The women's results of the 4x1. First, CDO Masamis in 53.56, Kintapa in 56.07, and Iloilo women's in 59.35. stop that screen for a moment. Okay. So a good evening to all the coaches who are tuning in tonight. So there's Coach Alan, Coach Joanne, Coach York, and just see if I can actually see who else is tuned in. Yeah, so mainly those three coaches. If anyone else is a coach here, then I do apologize, and I'll make sure to acknowledge you also. So we have a message here from Coach Joanne of Laguna, San Pablo. Congratulations to all the winners, Mabuhay and Atleta and Filipino. Thank you, Pinoyathletics and SprinTopia. More power and stay safe. Okay, so proceeding to the rest of our presentation. Only a little bit more to go here, and then I've got some notes that are not in the spreadsheet that I would like to mention. So, as in response, on behalf of Pinoyathletics, many thanks everyone for joining our virtual meet. It's been of great support, and I would like to especially thank the coaches and the helpers who have really made this event possible, being run remotely. And finally, I'd like to also mention that we will be having a very special guest for our Pinoyathletics track talk on the 1st of April, which I believe is a Thursday. Our special guest will be Miss Alexandra Burkhart, a 2017 World Athletics Relay Bahamas 4x1 champion. So Miss Burkhart is a sprinter from Germany, and at the World Athletics Championships, Germany tipped over the apple cart and defeated the United States, Jamaica, and England, the powerhouses of the World Athletics. So in the unpredictability of relays, the German quartet, which featured Miss Burkhart, emerged as the surprise winners of the 2017 World Athletics Relay Championships in 2017 in the Bahamas. She's been a German athletics national team member at the 2016 Rio Olympics. She's part of the European under-23 champions in the 4x1 for women, European junior champions in the 4x1 for women, which is under 20. So obviously a lot of experience with relays at that very high level from Ms. Alexandra Burkhart. So Ms. Burkhart will be joining us on the 1st of April, Thursday at 5 o'clock p.m. Philippine time, live via Facebook and Zoom. The link is above, and it's in all our postings on our website. I suggest that any coaches that are interested in anything to do with relays or even women's sprints, please bookmark this link, and so you definitely don't miss out on this guest speaker. This very special guest speaker we'll be having on the 1st of April. So meet one of Germany's champions in the 4x1 relays, Miss Alexandra Burkhart of SV Wacker Burghausen Athletics Club. Know her strategies in 4x1 relays and her life as one of the top athletes and top sprinters in Germany. The moderators hosts will be Ernel Tiabara, PhD student, University of Physical Education in Budapest, Hungary, and also the head coach of Ateneo de Davao and the founder of the and the lead manager of the Ateneo Blue Knights Track League program, which runs successfully in Mindanao, and also myself, Andrew Puri, Level 3 Athletics Australia coach and the Vice President of the Association of Track and Field Statisticians. Okay, so on that note, before we go, I'll just exit that screen. Okay, so there are some notes I do have which are not on the PowerPoint presentation that I'd like to address But I will just shout out to the other, some of the other people who have tuned in tonight to our presentation. So Rochelle Lalo, and also another Tamayo, this time Ronnie Tamayo, and also Mr. Popos, Fernando Popos from Surigao, joining us tonight on our track talk. So these are some other notes that I have. And of course, if there's any questions, I'll answer them before the show ends tonight. So the first thing is what I touched base on earlier in regards to the COVID situation. It seems that the COVID situation is going up with, 7,000, 8,000, 7,000 or so cases. I haven't checked it tonight. But like 7,000, 7,099 and 7,1, 799, then over 8,000 the following day, with most of it actually focused on the Laguna, Cavite, and Manila, Greater Manila region, so forming a greater bubble there for, like who knows how long, but hopefully not too long. So the Binyan track oval got closed. I mean, we were able to get most of that virtual meet out of the way before the local government decided to close the oval. So we luckily just got that out of the way before the lockdown happened. But the Bulacan oval seems to still be open at the moment. The Binyan oval is pretty much closed. So the other thing I want to address, so I've already touched base with regards to the athletes who are competing overseas. So my sources told me that Christina Knott will be running 100 this weekend on the 27th. I believe Eric Craig, according to my notes, will be running this weekend as well. But I have to dig through my notes to find that out. But I think that outdoor starting, he probably found a 400 hurdles meet to kick off its season. John Cuevas, shout out to him as well. So that's four of my, two of my four notes that I had here that I was going to discuss. The other two kind of tie in together. So one is the situation of Southeast Asian rankings, and the other is the situation regarding the Philippine Nationals, which were tentatively planned in September. So the Southeast Asian rankings, I've been keeping track of them, and I'm going to be updating them soon, but there's not really that much to update, to be honest. I mean, there are competitions in Singapore. Thailand is having their closed national championships next month. I believe Malaysia is having some competitions next month. Indonesia, I'm not sure about. I think Vietnam's having some competitions next month as well. So I know Vietnam, Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand are having competitions next month. That brings into question with the Philippine Nationals in September is, if they're going to have qualifying standards at the Philippine Nationals, then when are the athletes going to actually have meets to qualify for the standards that they're going to set? I mean, look at it this way. We could be taking results. There were no competitions at all in 2020, apart from not even, we had a 60-meter virtual meet, but there's no 60 meters at nationals. So, effectively, last 2020, there were no competitions at all where you can take qualifying standards from for the Philippine Nationals in September. Also, so you have to go right back to 2019. So December of 2019 is the SEA Games, and before that you had weekly relays and nationals and those competitions. But that's, these competitions are about 2 years back. So we invite athletes with performances from 2 years back. They could have gotten better, they could have gotten worse, they might not be in the sport anymore. So, a lot can happen in 2 years for performances. So, I'm just wondering if the virtual meet performances are going to be considered for nationals at this point, because there's no other competitions at this point in time, unless there are competitions planned later in the year, but like what are we, September? So you've got you've got pretty much this month. Then you've got May, June, July, August. So you've got 4 months left to after starting at April. So you've got April, May, June, July, August, and then August, September. So 4 or 5 months left to get competitions underway for qualifying for national championships. So before the qualifying standards are not even out, I don't fully know when the PTAFA will release the qualifying standards for the nationals, because they did say that they want to limit it to about 100 people or so due to the permit that they've got. So my presumption is that they're going to wait for their training camp to start first in about May for their national athletes before they release qualifying standards for the national championships. Shout out to Frankie Renares there. Yeah, so it is a bit troubling how there's not that many athletes competing at the moment, and like with nationals coming up, you'd think that there might be more people kind of getting ready for it, but it seems like a bit of a question mark at the moment in terms of that. Also, what also seems like a bit of a question mark at the moment is the UAAP. I mean, there's no definite date, and there's no definite date that's even going to push through this year. I mean, the last time they had a UAAP was December of 2018. It's pretty much collapsed at the moment. There's no there seems to be no continuity with that as well. All right. Anyway, had just about enough of that anyway, so I'll just move on to the next screen. Oh yeah, the other thing is, like, while we're on the subject of National Open UAAP, this talk about having a virtual Palaro, I'm not sure how that's going to happen, but I've heard news about it, but virtual meets are not easy to organise. I'll tell you that. Okay, this is the quote I'm going to leave you with here. Victory is in having done your best. If you've done your best, you've won. Bill Bowerman. So, very famous distance coach. I'll leave you with that quote. So we leave tonight on a good note. All right. And also Jay Flores, welcome. But we're about to wrap up tonight's show. I'll now be checking for any questions, reading any comments and whatnot. Yeah, so I guess the first comment is, when's the next virtual meet? Well, at the moment, we're going to see how this COVID situation goes in the Philippines. We'll evaluate in the next month to see how we go through with, how we proceed with that. Developments in that case. We do encourage everyone to stay motivated, to keep safe. Like, it is possible to do both. So we're keep encouraging people to stay motivated and keep safe. And yeah, so I would also highly recommend that that you check out my YouTube channel. I've been doing extensive work on it, uploading lots of coaching videos and videos from my archives that I'm sharing with the athletic community, stuff that's I haven't released before to the public, that's now being that's now up on my YouTube channel. Some good resources for coaching and that sort of stuff. Shout outs also to Andrea Nicole de la Cruz. Thanks for tuning in. So yeah, so the first question is the virtual meet. We don't know at this point, but like we'll evaluate in a month. We have been taking ideas into consideration here, trying to use these meets to help prepare athletes for national championships in September. What else? So that was one question. So the next question I usually get asked is it's on the tip of my tongue. There was I think that might have, it mainly was just about the virtual meet. That was the only question I got asked. I got asked about nationals, but I think that any questions regarding the National Open should really be directed at Philippine Amateur Track and Field Association, or Philippine Athletics Track and Field Association, because that's their competition, and I wouldn't want to give conflicting information. So I think that anyone who has questions on the national championships, where it's held, when it's held, what exact date it is, what the criteria is, what the COVID controls are going to be in place for the meet, like what events are going to be there, how do the mechanics work. I think all those questions should be directed to the PAFA because that's their meet. So I would encourage anyone who has any questions regarding the national championships leading up to the SEA Games to direct their questions to the PAFA. Got some further questions here. Okay. All right. So there doesn't seem to be any more questions. So I'd just like to thank everybody tonight for tuning in, and encourage everybody to stay motivated and safe at the same time. Yeah, like in some areas, I guess it's going to be back to home workouts. Some areas, obviously, there's no track oval, so they're going to work out on the road or on the dirt track or whatever, or the gym. But back to home workouts for some areas. I mean, I'm going to put up some. I've got some workouts I was looking through my archives that can be done at home that I'll be putting up on the YouTube channel. As a support means from Pinoyathletics. I've got a lot of stuff in the pipe work at the moment that basically, it's giving me a breather from holding virtual meets, because virtual meets are very, even with the help of all the coaches and the helpers, it's still like a lot of strenuous administrative work, doing the work of about 5 people administratively. So I'm just taking a break from it. I've got other stuff in the pipeline that I'm working on at the moment that you'll probably find out about later. Obviously, a lot of stuff home in Australia that I'm working on, plus various projects. Shout out to Albert Monteron. Thanks for tuning in. Okay. All right. So we'll just keep updated. Remember to like our Facebook page at Pinoyathletics, at fb.com Pinoyathletics. Bookmark our website at www.pinoyathletics.info, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Pinoyathletics. Because we'll be adding more videos. We're putting up quite a lot of videos daily on that channel, so it's a great reference in addition to our textual database on Pinoyathletics.info. We have quite a extensive video library that's going up now on the YouTube channel. So for everyone, thank you for tuning in, and good night.